Hello ladies and gentlemen, it is Stephen Lai Ellie here, the Duke of Disputation, and no, I did not steal Rhino's Zolo pad. So let's get right into it. This weekend is going to be jam-packed for us, so jam-packed that I don't even know when I'm going to be able to watch Worlds Collide or the Royal Rumble, so I might make a special video for that later in the week, or I'll just tack that on to next week's episode. I'm not sure. But anyway, I digress. This weekend we take on the Asylum on Saturday, January 25th, and in Clearfield, Pennsylvania, at a Cage Resolution Asylum Pro Wrestling at the Clearfield Fairgrounds, Expo 1. The doors open at 6 p.m. The bell time is at 7. Front row is $20. General admission is $15. You can get your tickets at facebook.com/wrestling at the Asylum. Crazy Shay has let Smart Mark Alley know to let you guys know that the last 3 matches of this event will all be taking place in a steel cage. If you didn't catch the promo I caught with him earlier on Facebook earlier this month, go ahead and check that out on our Smart Mark Alley Facebook page. On all of our social media, we have that up there about the craziness that we are going to get ourselves involved. Smart Mark Alley is going to be involved with the Asylum Pro Wrestling Cage Resolution on Saturday, January 25th. And if you are in the East Stroudsburg area on January 25th, Northern Tier Wrestling and NSW Northeast Signature Wrestling meet up once again for another jam-packed event. Another awesome event called New Beginnings at the MMA Signatures Academy, 564 Main Street, East Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania. The doors open at 6, the bell is at 7. Rows 1 and 2 are $16, general admission is $13. You can go ahead and message either one of these pages on Facebook, the Northern Tier Wrestling page, or the Northeast Signature Wrestling page for your tickets to the event. Then on January 26th, Northern Tier Wrestling comes back home to the home base at the Sayre VFW, 932 West Lockhart Street, Sayre, Pennsylvania, for Generation Now. The tickets for that are $12 for general admission, $15 the day of. The doors open at 2:30. Go on ahead on Facebook.com, look up Northern Tier Wrestling for your tickets to that great event. Ladies and gentlemen, this week I watched NXT first. So that's what I'm going to cover first. That's what I'm going to give you guys first. You know, I already recorded this once, like a dunce cap, on my phone, and the audio was terrible, not as good as when I usually do it on the tablet, so let's record the whole thing over again. F it, we'll do it live. Well, live from a studio audience. Well, not live, but that is a doornail from the studio audience. Shut up. This week, NXT on the 22nd of January opened up with the Undisputed Era versus the Grizzled Young Veterans. NXT North America, as I like to call it, versus NXT UK. This was a champion versus championship match. This was the semifinals for the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. This was great tag team wrestling, the complete opposite of Raw, at least as far as established teams go. I loved how Smash Mouth it got towards the end. Imperium, of course, they come out, but not interfering, but to stand on the outside and perch above to distract the Undisputed Era. The Undisputed Era as kind of a receipt for their shenanigans that they pulled at NXT TakeOver Blackpool. Of course, by Imperium doing this, the grizzled young veterans take advantage of this by hitting their finisher in the ring for a win. They move on into the finals of the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. We move on to a nice Shotzi Blackheart promo. It was a super awesome promo that did not compromise her character in any way. I really like this promo out of her. Next up, we had a match with Toni Storm versus Io Shirai. Toni Storm, of course, winning the Mae Young Classic. Toni beating Shirai in the second round of the Mae Young Classic. Toni had some nice European uppercuts, but Bianca Belair attacks her in this match, causing Shirai to win by a DQ. Then Rhea Ripley comes out, Belair and Ripley brawl, Shirai gets involved, Storm attacks Shirai. Like usual, it's a Donnybrook of female competitors out there. And now I guess they're taking the women's name off of the NXT Women's Championship and they are just going by NXT Champion. So I'm not exactly sure if the NXT World Champion, I don't know if that's going to be called the Heavyweight Champion, the World Champion, the Unified Champion. I don't know what the heck is going on with that, if they're going to change it at all. I don't know. That's not for me to worry about. Anyway, moving on. This Saturday is Worlds Collide. We move on to a match. Finn Balor versus Joaquin Wilde. Of course, Joaquin Wilde was DJZ. Finn Balor super aggressive in this one. Wilde gets little to zero offense if I even see him catch one move. Finn wins with a double stomp in a 1916. I didn't really like this one because I kind of wanted to see these guys go at it. So it kind of took it away from me for it to be so quick and decisive like that. But I mean, it built on Finn Balor's character. But at the same time, like I said, I wish I could have seen them guys go at it just a little bit more. And that took away from how great this match could have been for me. But hopefully this opens the door up for them to do that later on down the line. We move on to Shotzi Blackheart versus Shayna Baszler. This match was set up last week as Shotzi Blackheart eliminates Shayna Baszler from the #1 contender Battle Royale. Shotzi, a big Joan Jett fan, as described on commentary. That is where her name comes from. I didn't realize that, because I'm a dullard. No. Shayna put a beating on Shotzi, but Shotzi does get a lot of offense in early on. Shotzi Blackheart she escapes the Karakuda clutch, which that was impressive to me. Not many people do escape the Karakuda clutch. Shotzi does hit a sliced bread #2 on the apron. Then she goes for a senton off of the top, and then Shayna catches her in the Karakuda clutch. She does fight it for a long time, where you almost thought she was going to get out of that, but she does then tap out to the Karakuda clutch, and after the match, she still holds it on. Shayna Baszler still holds the move on and chokes her out after the match, after the bell has rang. So hopefully maybe we'll see even more out of these two for that matter. I would like to see a rematch out of these guys, these ladies as they were. Next up, we have the Broserweights, joint manipulation as I like to call them, Pete Dunne and Matt Riddle versus Imperium. Imperium, of course, Aichner and Barthel. Barthel and Dunne were very good early on. Dunne was very impressive in this one. Walter comes out and then distracts the ref, and Imperium get dirty. Dunne and Riddle work very, very well together for a team that is relatively new. I thought they worked together before, but apparently on commentary they said that this was their second week of being a tag team together. It was a very excellent match, very awesome back and forth segments, but joint manipulation does win with awesome teamwork finisher. I don't know if I like that one with them winning over Imperium, because that's kind of like the NXT UK version of Undisputed Era, one of the more established teams, and you got one team that has been together for a week beating a team that is very established on, the UK side. I kind of thought we would have seen a retake of Imperium versus Grizzled Young Veterans there, so I was kind of disappointed with that, but I even disappointed with because of my theory would have been last week was that it was going to be the Undisputed Era versus the Imperium for the conclusion of the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. So, I don't know, but then we did get a great promo from all these guys. Great Grizzled Young Veterans promo, and then we seen Matt Riddle get some awesome mic time, as well as Pete Dunne, who we don't get to see talk very, very often, get a little bit of mic time. So I thought that was pretty cool. It was a great promo after the match. Look that up if you have some time. Next up, we move to our main event of the evening, NXT North American title match, Keith Lee versus Roderick Strong. We opened it with a weird commercial break that felt like it took forever when the show was already seemed like it was running very long. It was like 1 hour and 50 minutes out of 2 hours, and I really thought that my DVR was going to clip the end of this one off, but it didn't, thankfully. Lee still with the hurt ankle, and Roderick Strong focuses on that a lot, especially with the steel steps early on. Strong gets his drive-by forearms in. I love to see those from Strong. That's one of my favorite moves from Roderick Strong, is the drive-by forearms. Then we had another weird commercial break, but at least we got picture-in-picture this time. UE get involved, or as I like to call them, UE2, EV2, UEV2. I don't know. Maybe my locals will get that one. UEV2, they're always around, man. Crazy Avalanche Olympic Slam top rope, Roderick Strong with Keith Lee. I thought that was awesome. Lee pounces Strong out of the ring onto UEV2. Crazy looking lariat from Lee, and then Lee does win this one with the Big Bang Theory. We have a new North American champion to round out the end of our episode of NXT, ladies and gentlemen. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, this is the All Elite Wrestling segment of the show. Not the Cruise Edition, but the Rockin' Wrestling Rager at Sea. We opened it up with Hangman Page and Kenny Omega versus SCU. We had an incredible entrance from Kenny Omega, and it was especially incredible to have happen on a cruise ship with pyrotechnics and everything. The dynamic of the ring was a little bit different in this match, in that it was explained more thoughtfully than I could explain it on commentary. I think one of the sides of the ring they couldn't use, but it was kind of interesting to see that the dynamic of the ring was a little bit different on the cruise ship. The match pacing and storytelling of this match was a lot better than last week with the Lucha Brothers, in my opinion, and the Bucks. Page does accidentally hit Omega with a buckshot lariat in this one, unfortunately, but the commercial breaks and picture-in-picture were better this week too. I do love the move SCU later from SCU, but Page and Omega win with a nice buckshot lariat from Page to Kazarian, and we have, to open the show, new tag team champions. I don't know if they're going to hold on to them just to wait and see, if they're going to crumble the dynamics of those guys. I didn't expect them to last this week, but here they are. Maybe they'll go a little bit more. Maybe they'll crumple under the weight, and maybe the Young Bucks will take the titles. I don't know if I like the hot-shotting of it, but other than that, we have some new tag team champions with Hangman Page and Kenny Omega. The next pay-per-view, Revolution, will take place on February 29th. I don't know when I'll be able to watch that one either, because we will be at Tollman Joe's for Leap Day Lunacy. More to come on that later. The next match was Priscilla Kelly versus Britt Baker. I seen this one get dogged online. I didn't think it was that bad. Priscilla Kelly was in the All Out Rumble. Some sort of obscene chant started in this match from the fans. I don't know what the heck they were saying, because it was very heavily edited, like blank, 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 blank. I couldn't hear it, what was going on. I couldn't wager what they were saying. Suck something. I don't know. Something will probably get me kicked off of Twitch and Spotify and everything else, you know what I mean? I do like this more aggressive side of Britt Baker. This is a pretty decent match, but pretty quick, ending with Priscilla Kelly tapping out to the lockjaw submission. And then Britt Baker cuts a promo where she roasts Tony Schiavone post-match. Then more obscene chants from the crowd. I don't know if this threw her off and she was just thrown off with the crowd chanting whatever they were chanting. But she started cutting some kind of weird promo, and I don't know, but they had a commercial break in the middle of her talking, and then we immediately move on to the Jurassic Express versus the Inner Circle. So I don't know what the heck that was, but I really liked the entrance out of Chris Jericho. The crowd was singing his song. That was pretty cool for an entrance, like I said, with the pyrotechnics on the cruise ship. Jungle Boy was very impressive in this one once again. The whole Jurassic Express is awesome. This was my first time getting a full experience from these guys, and I really like what I'm seeing. That these guys grow on me more and more as I watch this All Elite, and like I said, they're really growing on me over the past couple of weeks here, and as I've watched All Elite Wrestling. Luchasaurus, though, once again, my standout. Commercial breaks, much better, like I said, time this week. I hope one day Luchasaurus challenges Chris Jericho for the title if it is taken from him. Luchasaurus and Jake Hager brawl on the outside, but not as legal man, so they didn't get disqualified. Because Luchasaurus tags in Marco Stunt, who hits a 450 splash on Chris Jericho for like a 2.5 count. Boy, would the internet go nuts on that one if that were to have happened. Jericho does beat Marco Stunt after the 2.5 count. They brawl for a little bit, and then Jericho hits the Judas effect for the win. And we move on to MJF versus Joey Janela. More obscene chants from the crowd. Lots of censoring on AEW's part. Very good wrestling out of these two. Very, very good match. AEW seemed to go by really quick this week. Before I knew it, a whole hour had flown by. Like, it was good wrestling. Penelope Ford comes out and was kissing on Chris Sabian. Of course, this distracts MJF long enough. Distracts Janela long enough for MJF to hit the double cross for the win. Of course, he gets on the mic and cuts a promo about Cody Rhodes, saying that he will be the last chapter in Cody Rhodes' book. Cody Rhodes comes out. Cody Rhodes, of course, can't touch him. MJF gets major heat, throws the microphone on the ground, kicks it, as Cody Rhodes had something to say and he wouldn't let him say it. Cody Rhodes says that he might not be able to touch MJF, but these guys can. And bang, super kick from the Young Bucks. They hit MJF with a super kick and threw him into the pool on the cruise ship. So that was pretty funny. MJF gets what he deserves there. MJF sucks. I wonder if that code still works for Beyond Wrestling. I don't know. We move on to the main event of the evening, which was Pox versus Moxley for the #1 contendership. This was a excellent match, but a little bit quick on my opinion. Jericho was on commentary, and of course he was trying to say that Moxley eye thing was his own fault for not joining the Inner Circle. Moxley's eye was still heavily bandaged. This was a great mat-based match very early on, and with Pac focusing on the eye, we had lots of kicks and knees and punches and slaps to the eye, and then the match went all over the place during picture-in-picture. Excuse me. Pac pulls out the orbital bone breaker move to Moxley, and eventually Moxley's eye starts bleeding under all them bandages, and Pac rips the bandages off, then starts beating at the eye, and this kind of like throws Moxley into a blind rage. Moxley hits him with the double arm DDT. I forget what they call that in AEW. Then he hits him with a paradigm shift for the win. We close out AEW this week by teasing up the heavyweight championship match that will take place now on February 29th at Revolution. Jon Moxley versus Chris Jericho for the heavyweight championship of All Elite Wrestling. So, ladies and gentlemen, with that being said, that wraps up my business this week. I hope you enjoyed my recaps of All Elite Wrestling and NXT. If I had to give it to one or the other this week, I give it to AEW. Like I said, for NXT, there's just a couple things I didn't like. Not too major, but I didn't like the Finn Balor match. That it was so quick with no little offense from Wild, and I didn't like I kind of didn't like how Joint Manipulation won over a very established team. I don't know. I can't complain too much. It was still a great week of wrestling. So, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I leave you to your business, and I hope you enjoy, and catch me next week on the Duke's Dive. Thank you.